On this edition of NewsTeam Boulder, an amendment to the Boulder Public Health Order addresses student safety. What do you need to know? Reactions to the first presidential debate, and a dog obituary that'll tug on your heartstrings. All this and more on NewsTeam Boulder.
From the Roser Atlas Center and the College of Media, Communication, and Information, this is NewsTeam Boulder.
Hello everyone, happy first day of October. Campus might be closed, but we at NewsTeam are still chugging along. Good afternoon, thanks for joining us. I'm Vinay Simlot. We'll start again today with the daily count of the coronavirus. There's some good news. Yesterday, CU reported just 5 new cases of the virus. That's the lowest we've seen in more than 3 weeks. Officials are crediting the low number with the new Boulder Public Health Order, which banned any social gatherings between people 18 and 22. But that order brought up issues of safety that the CU student government addressed with the city of Boulder. NewsTeam's Chloe Henson has more on that.
The Hill is ground zero for the latest coronavirus outbreak in Colorado. Because of this, Boulder County recently issued a new public health order prohibiting social gatherings of any size for people ages 18 to 22. The Hill is the most popular location for off-campus housing. Although it isn't as bustling and busy during this pandemic, it is still risky for students to walk alone at night in the area. As CU Boulder students, we've been told to never walk alone in Boulder as a safety precaution. The new health order was trying to tell students something very different. Some students grew concerned with these regulations.
I've heard multiple stories of interactions with people in my sorority that have just been weird, and I don't feel comfortable walking alone at night.
Due to rising numbers of COVID-19 cases, there are new regulations in place for people ages 18 to 22. The CU student government have come forward with an amendment to the rule. Students are asking that they be able to walk with one other person while on the Hill for their own safety. The CUSG administration took to social media to request an amendment to the health order. They moved quickly and showed that students really can have an impact on their schools.
CUSG stepped up and advocated for CU students.
It's often far too easy for elected officials to sort of brush aside the concerns of young people and students. So when we started hearing this from every corner of the university, this frustration, that was sort of what sparked this really call to action on our part.
Boulder County recently amended their original rule. They are now allowing 18 to 22-year-olds to walk with one other person if they wear masks and practice social distancing. Chloe Henson, NewsTeam Boulder.
To keep those numbers down, remember, socially distance, wear a mask, stay safe and healthy out there, folks. Turning to politics and fallout from that debate on Tuesday night, the moderator, Chris Wallace, asked President Trump to specifically denounce the Proud Boys. The Southern Poverty Law Center calls them a misogynistic white supremacist group. In the debate, the president told them to stand back and stand by, but yesterday reporters again asked the president if he would denounce the Proud Boys. Here's what he said.
I don't know who the Proud Boys are. I mean, you'll have to give me a definition because I really don't know who they are. I can only say they have to stand down, let law enforcement do their work. Law enforcement will do the work more and more. As people see how bad this radical liberal Democrat movement is and how weak, the law enforcement's going to come back stronger and stronger. But again, I don't know who Proud Boys are, but whoever they are, they have to stand down, let law enforcement do their work.
Moving on to more COVID news, anthropologists in Germany say there might be a certain DNA strand that makes the coronavirus worse. They say the strand is on gene number 3 and its sequences have been passed down to people from Neanderthals. Those people with that Neanderthal sequence are more likely to have a serious case of the coronavirus. Scientists say about 2% of Europeans and South Asians, like me, are closely related to Neanderthals, and it's likely because modern humans interbred with Neanderthals back in the day. Speaking of genes, CU researchers recently made a breakthrough discovery that could solve one of evolution's greatest mysteries. NewsTeam's Kylie Westhoff will walk us through the findings.
CU researchers recently unearthed a major discovery in evolutionary biology. They discovered a key gene family that could explain the origin of vertebrates. I'm going to take you through the background of vertebrate and invertebrate evolution so you can understand why this finding is so significant. Vertebrates are a complex group of animals, including humans, that have a mysterious origin. Basically, about 500 million years ago, we just showed up and have been very dominant predators ever since. This is perplexing because vertebrates are extremely different from their closest invertebrate relative. What do I mean by that? The first vertebrate essentially evolved from a worm-like creature into a fish. The mystery of the vertebrate is particularly difficult to solve because there's no key fossil series to follow. Evolutionary biologists discovered a possible answer to this question by studying the genomes of vertebrates and invertebrates. And what they found is that all vertebrates have this specific gene family known as the endothelin signaling pathway. This finding gave scientists cause to believe that this sudden genome change could be pinpointed as the origin of vertebrates. However, there was little evidence to support this theory, so it's unclear whether this is truly what's driving these evolutionary changes in vertebrates, or if it's just a coincidence. That is where CU's Medeiros lab comes in. They wanted to put this idea to the test. Dr. Medeiros and his lab of researchers wanted to see what would happen when this gene that is unique to vertebrates is removed. So how do you revert the evolutionary clock when you live in the year 2020? CRISPR technology allows scientists to isolate and remove genes to find out what they do. So using this CRISPR technology, they isolated and removed the endothelin signaling pathway. They performed this procedure on a vertebrate called a lamprey. A lamprey is an ancient-looking jawless vertebrate that has a very simple genome, so any changes that occur would be very obvious. So here's where it gets interesting. Without this gene, the lamprey appeared to revert in steps to a more primitive-looking animal closely resembling an invertebrate. The lamprey lost much of what makes vertebrates special, basically going backwards in its evolution. These results strongly suggest that the endothelin signaling pathway could be what is responsible for allowing vertebrates to appear so suddenly all those years ago. This discovery is so important because it takes us one step closer to understanding the world around us and where we came from. Although there is much of the mystery to still be uncovered, it looks like we vertebrates have the endothelin signaling pathway to thank for our evolutionary advantage. I'm Kylie Westhoff, NewsTeam Boulder.
Up next on NewsTeam Boulder, how are students with learning disabilities coping with the online classes? And a woman's heart-wrenching obituary for her late dog.
Navigating careers can feel like a chain of roadblocks and wrong turns. As a job seeker, you want more than a paycheck. As an employer, you want the right talent. If you're looking to discover your unique path to success, Talent Found can help you get there. Whether you're a student exploring career pathways, a job seeker looking to change direction, or an employer working to build a stronger team, Talent Found empowers Coloradans on your employment adventure. Visit talentfound.org.
We're back now with the move to online classes at CU. Some students say it's a lot harder to pay attention and learn. News Team's Reed Radenchonsky has that story for us.
Students all over the country are taking classes remotely, and the University of Colorado is no exception. They recently announced they will be moving to remote learning for the next 2 weeks. Students like Teddy Stein are not happy with the decision.
It's definitely been a struggle just trying to figure out everything I need to do. I've honestly been missing a decent amount of assignments, but just going to try and make those up and make the most of the semester.
It is no surprise that many students are struggling with the transition to remote learning. There is one population of CU students who are having a particularly hard time, those with learning disabilities. Teddy's makes it hard for him to sit still and focus during his online classes.
So I can just be on my computer, turn the camera off, turn the audio off, and just like really not pay attention if I don't want to.
Many students in Teddy's situation are at a very high risk of dropping out because they just simply cannot learn online. The university does provide students with accommodations that are designed to help them with their unique learning styles. 10% of the student population here use these accommodations, but remote learning provides significant challenges for the university. Elizabeth Briggs works in disability services and believes future changes will help students.
But really what the process looks like is you would meet with one of our access coordinators, such as myself, and we would talk you through, based on how you're being impacted, what types of accommodations might be helpful for you. And we'll do kind of an exploratory process, and we follow what's called an interactive process at our office. So even students who are already registered with our office, if you guys are noticing new impacts that you're facing because of your disability in the online environment, definitely reach out to your access coordinator to connect with them.
These improvements cannot come soon enough, as students in Teddy's situation are really struggling.
It's definitely a little harder for me for remote learning.
The university plans to go back to the hybrid, online, and in-person classes after the quarantine is over. Hopefully students like Teddy will be able to overcome these challenges. Reed Radishonsky, NewsTeam Boulder.
Yeah, hopefully those students can take advantage of the resources and persevere through this online learning. Like Reed mentioned, because of COVID's impacts on learning, the CU Regents took up a proposal to cut tuition, but they voted against it in August. Well, it turns out Colorado residents can make their voice heard about these types of issues. Earlier, I took a camera to my apartment to show you how. If you got your ballot in the mail like I did and you live in Colorado, you might have to vote for something called a regent. And it turns out for us at CU, they're actually pretty important. The regents are a 9-member panel that people in Colorado elect. The law says they're the highest source of authority for everything at CU, responsible for everything from finances to human resources. They also hire the university president and set the tuition. This year, there are 3 Board of Regents seats up for election. The first one is in District 2, which includes most of northern Colorado. The Republican Dick Murphy has a PhD in economics and specializes in school finance models. He's running against the Democrat, Callie Renison, a statistician who used to work at the Department of Justice. In District 6, Ilana Spiegel, the Democrat, says she's been fighting for students of color, running against the Republican Richard Murray, a lawyer who went to CU and is running on a pro-athletics platform. Finally, in District 7, the Democrat Nolbert Chavez doesn't have an opponent, so that means he wins. There's a lot going on in this election, and it could have a big impact at CU. CU Boulder was recently ranked 18th out of 76 schools for voter turnout in the 2016 election. A nonprofit organization based out of New York recently developed a student voter guide that gave CU an A score for voter turnout. To get an A, 55 to 59% of students must have voted in the 2016 election. CU had 55% show up to vote. Turning to safety on campus, bike thefts are on the rise. Reporter Kylie Westoff is in the field to tell us more.
I'm Kylie Westoff, reporting from the CU Boulder campus, where there has been a reported increase in bike thefts. Bike theft is the #1 crime on campus, but just since the 2020 school year started, there have been 100 bikes reported stolen. Here's what you can do to keep your bike protected. You can start by making your bike hard to steal. Always lock up your bike when you're going to leave it unattended and use a U-lock style of locks because it's the most effective. You can get one for free at any CU bike station, provided by the CU Environmental Center and CU Police. Trade in an old used lock and get a brand new one. Tip number 2, register your bike. You can register your bike for free at a CU bike station, and registering your bike will discourage thefts and make it easier to return your bike in the event that it is stolen. Finally, report the theft. Alert CUPD immediately if your bike is stolen on campus, and report the crime on CUPD's online reporting system. CUPD says to call 911 immediately if you witness a theft on campus. Call to report where the incident is occurring and what information you can provide about the suspect. Now don't forget to lock up that bike, Vinay. Back to you.
Now that it's October, you might start queuing up your favorite Halloween movies. And just like you, some astronomers are keeping a close eye on Betelgeuse. Not the movie, but the star. Betelgeuse is a red supergiant star that's about 750 light years away from us. But late last year, scientists watching Betelgeuse from the Hubble telescope noticed that it got dimmer. They think it's because the star ejected some plasma, creating a dust cloud near the star. And you can see on the graphic how that would make it look a little dimmer from Earth. Now it's back to its normal brightness, and it's just in time for Halloween. It's not just space. There are fires and smoke messing with us here on Earth, too. Coming up in weather, how wildfires are affecting your air quality.
It's getting harder to take care of Mom. I don't know where to turn.
My son has high needs, and we need more help. Where do I start?
Every day I'm there for him, but sometimes I need time for me. Caregiving can be tough. Call or visit coloradocaregiving.org to find resources in your community. Get the support you need. Your care may be super, but you're only human. Call or visit coloradocaregiving.org.
Welcome back to NewsTeam Boulder. It is October 1st. The weekend is right around the corner and your weather forecast starts now. Before I take you local, I do want to take a look at some of the footage from wildfires in Napa County, California. The blazes you see here are a part of the Glass Fire. Now, many members of the Napa Valley community are currently worried for their homes, not to mention having to breathe some extremely smoke-filled air. We hope that this will become more contained soon. However, for the time being, we are seeing the effects of these wildfires even in our own community. Taking a look at Boulder, Colorado today, it is smoky. Excess smoke from the California wildfires as well as some newer Colorado wildfires are causing this. The high today will be 67. The winds will pick up this afternoon and really cause that smoke to fill out in the area. Now, with this smoky weather forecast, we are looking at a more moderate air quality in Boulder today. The air quality index is going to be 54. So there is some excess particle matter from the wildfire smoke really weighing down the air today, and I'm going to recommend that you stay inside as much as you can to avoid breathing this air, and you'll see why. As we take a look at the Centennial State as a whole, we have a few different areas of moderate air quality down here in Colorado Springs, as well as up through Denver and of course Boulder. Still a lot of green in the state today, but some areas are being affected by that smoke from wildfires. Now, if we look here, we can see a map of all of these fires scattered about the state. Some are contained, others we're still working toward containing. The first one I want to show you is the Williams Fork wildfire. This is 10 miles outside of Fraser, Colorado. This was human-caused, and it spans more than 13,000 acres. And this perimeter here is only at about 25% containment currently. Next, we have the Cameron Peak wildfire. This is just west of Fort Collins. The cause of the fire is still being investigated, but in the meantime, it has managed to grow over 125,000 acres. Almost 900 personnel are currently working on containing this fire, and currently this perimeter here is only at about 30% containment. Now, zooming out to look at the entire nation, you can see we are not the only ones affected by negative air quality from fires, although we do stand out a bit with those warm colors in the center of our nation today. We're finally seeing some improvement in conditions in the Pacific Northwest up here. However, areas of Northern California, such as Redding, still suffering a bit from negative air quality, as well as all the way down to Los Angeles and some parts of the Gulf as well, looking at some negative air conditions. But if we take a look at the east, a whole lot of green. They're looking pretty good in terms of air quality. If we transition now into our national forecast, you may know that the east has had a very active hurricane season. We've used up the entire alphabet for this season and now have moved on to the Greek alphabet. So we'll see what develops in the tropics over this next week. As for the Pacific, off of the west coast, there is this low pressure here off the coast of Los Angeles caused by Hurricane Marie. Now, this is currently a Category 2 hurricane, and it has the potential to become a Category 4 storm. Luckily, this is expected to stay out in the open water just south of California off the coast of Mexico and is not expected to make landfall anytime soon. Zooming back into our landlocked state today, it is feeling a lot like fall. Lots of 60s, colder temperatures over here in the mountains. And as for tomorrow, the southeast corner is going to get a flood of warm air. High 70s and low 80s in places like Pueblo. And again, the mountains stay cool. Saturday, that warm cluster moves out. We'll trade warmer temperatures for low 60s and 70s. And next, on Sunday, the heat is going to move back in, and then watch this on Monday. the entire eastern half of the state is going to be red hot, and I mean this literally. So if you're not quite ready for fall, this is good news for you. However, this heat up won't happen until Monday though, so let's backtrack a little bit and take a look at tomorrow in Boulder. The high will be 76, and in the words of the National Weather Service, there will be areas of smoke, so likely an improvement from the air quality that we're seeing today, high of 76 and a low of 43 just after sundown. As always, I'll leave you with a 4-day outlook. By Saturday, the smoke will clear out. We're looking at comfortable temperatures for the weekend. High of 68 on Saturday and a 77 for your high on Sunday. And then on Monday, we do have that brief heat up with a high of 80. And since it is the first day of October, I'll leave you with some gorgeous shots of fall colors from Sunday in Wisconsin. All of that rain in the upper Midwest has made for some beautiful fall foliage this season, but leaves aren't the only thing you can look forward to watching this fall. When we come back, we'll let you know what's new with sports.
Former President Barack Obama made a surprise virtual appearance during one of the NBA Finals games. Because of the ongoing pandemic, there haven't been any fans at games inside the NBA bubble, but Wednesday night Obama was sitting courtside in the virtual crowd as the Los Angeles Lakers dominated the Miami Heat. Obama thanked poll workers for participating in the upcoming elections. Take a look.
I am obviously not the main event tonight, but I wanted to come on to give a shout out to all the folks who are volunteering as poll workers in this upcoming election.
Thank you.
The Lakers blew out the Heat with a score of 116-98 to take Game 1 of the series. Most obituaries don't go viral, but a South Carolina woman wrote one that recently did, because it was written for her dog. Sally Gregory Hammett felt compelled to write one about the life of her golden retriever, Charlie, after he lost his battle with lymphoma. She says it started as a way to help her work through her feelings and remember her best friend's quirks. Hammett got Charlie when he was just 8 weeks old. The pooch saw her through her single years and helped her realize she had found her soulmate in the man who loved him as much as she did. She married in May, adding another human to the bond that she shared with Charlie. Hammett posted the obituary to her social media accounts for friends and family, but after some dog-centric Twitter feeds shared it, the story of Charlie's life racked up more than 100,000 likes. Before Charlie died in early September, he got one last trip to his favorite place, the beach. He was 7 years old. Wow, so many people can relate to how she's feeling about that dog. What a powerful story. That's all for us today on NewsTeam Boulder. I'm Vinay Simlat. Have a great day.